All right, guys, welcome to another news vlog with Rukshan. As you can see, I'm on the road. It's filming on my dash cam. Hopefully it's got me because it's filming the back and the front. I can't really see. I'm actually doing a photo shoot in a nice part of Victoria today for a couple sunset shoot around Black Rock, Half Moon Bay. You might know this area. It's quite nice. It's a beautiful day. It's going to be very busy on the beach. Now, as far as the news goes, so this week I'm going to be quite busy because I'm also covering what's happening in Davos. Now, in Davos, if you don't know, the World Economic Forum is having their annual shindig conference where Klaus Schwab and his globalist, elitist mates, business leaders and politicians, unsavory, some people would say, potentially compromised individuals get together to discuss the agenda for the rest of us, right? That's what they do there, and I will be covering that. So usually they're flying in their private jets, carbon neutral, of course, and yeah, they discuss how to ensure that we remain happy while eating bugs and owning nothing. So I will bring you the latest from all of that as best as I can throughout this week. In terms of the news in Australia, today a lot of this news in mainstream and independent news is around Woolworths, right? Woolies, or what I like to term them as Wokeworth. Was it Wokeworth? Yeah, not Woolworth, Wokeworth. And the reason I'm calling Wokeworth is I just saw people online saying that. But they are so woke, right? It's a very apt description for this company. Because whenever we have some type of discussion in this country around the identity of Australia and what it means to be Australian, whether it's the voice referendum, whether it's this current debate around Australia Day, these companies like Woolworths just love to get up in there and share their opinion when no one asks them for it, right? Woolworths is a retailer. They're a grocery chain. They should be selling produce, meats, ensuring that staff are paid and that everything's running properly and that the farmers are looked after. These are the things that Woolworths should be doing. Instead, they're trying to do what our politicians do. They're trying to be a part of this, culture war by themselves, by inserting themselves into this. Now, I know a lot of people that are supporting Woolworths, standing up for them, deny this and say that this was a business decision that they made because they weren't selling Australia Day merchandise. Now, I call BS on that because from their history of activism, from their history of virtue signaling, we know how much Woolworths loves to put their foot in these kind of debates. And now, unfortunately, especially since we've got this debate happening around whether it should be boycotted, even Peter Dutton made a comment about boycotting Woolworths. Yes, there's been instances where staff have had to deal with customers who are asking them difficult questions about where's their Australia Day merchandise? Why are you guys un-Australian? Why does Woolworths hate this country? Right? People are asking them these questions, and unfortunately, I don't want to condone any of this type of behavior. But in Brisbane, at least, there was one store that's been vandalized now. Right? Someone in the early hours in the morning at 5 a.m. has gone to this store. They've put a smoke, a flare underneath the door, set off the alarm. They've graffitied on the building. They've written "F you Woolies." They've written "Aussie, Aussie, Aussie, oi, oi, oi," and they've written "Boycott Woolworths." Now, we don't know who did this. As far as when I'm making this video, I don't have an idea of who's done this. I don't think the police know. It could be people doing it for political purposes. It could be people doing it just to stir up trouble. Who knows who did it? But I'm just saying these consequences for Woolworths, they are partly responsible, if not wholly responsible, for bringing their business into these type of circumstances. I know a lot of people are pointing their finger at Peter Dutton and blaming him, saying that the opposition leader should not be doing anything to do with boycotts or talking about Australian businesses and cancel culture and culture wars. But really, he's commenting on the fact that we have businesses in this country that frankly do not support Australian values or Australian interests. And therefore, if shoppers and Australians in this country want to take their business elsewhere, then maybe that's a way of giving them a message. And I think that's fair. I'm not a supporter of cancel culture in any way. I'm not a supporter of boycotting businesses just for the sake of it because I don't agree with their decision. No. What I'm a fan of is in a capitalist society like we live in, if you don't like what a business is doing, leave them be and go shop elsewhere. All right, go do business with someone that respects your values. Right, this is within the law. Whatever Woolworths is doing, this is not like the vax mandates and things like this, because I thought those things were deviating from actually what the law is, which is about ensuring that all people can shop wherever they like without discriminating against them. Right, in this instance, if this private business Woolworths wants to hate on Australia, let them hate on Australia, and us as the customers, we can decide to go shop elsewhere, right? We can shop with Coles. Maybe Coles will do something in the future that pisses us off. Who knows? But that's just how this capitalist world works. So I don't think this finger pointing at Peter Dutton is quite frankly, it doesn't really add up to the fact that he's responsible for this. Woolworths has to share a lot of the blame for the situation that they find themselves in. And quite frankly, these woke lefties who are blaming Peter Dutton and just going off on a tangent now because they feel like it's them versus Dutton. These guys love cancel culture. They love boycotting businesses, right? I'm reading tweets right now from individuals that on their own timeline have tweets or posts supporting boycotts against Zara or Starbucks or McDonald's because of the war and the conflict in Israel. And they're saying, yes, boycott or teach these companies a lesson. But at the same time, these people are saying, oh, it's un-Australian to boycott this company because they're hating on Australia Day. It's all ideological for these people. And I think what Dutton has done is actually identify that companies in this country, if they want to, be un-Australian and they want to not be patriotic in certain respects and get involved in discussions about this country and tell people how to, live and, what they should feel about Australia, then people rightly have a opportunity to make their voices heard with their wallets. Fair call. Let me know what you guys think. I'm sorry again for talking about Woolworths. I know we've talked about Woolworths now multiple times. I'm guessing up until Australia Day, we might be discussing Woolworths a little bit more. I don't actually mind talking about the culture war because there is a battle being fought all the time, and I feel like we need to insert our views and opinions into this as well. I'm talking about from the conservative perspective because oftentimes the media and those people within politics usually swing one way, and that's very much to the left. Now, the next story that I wanted to talk to you guys about was Tennis Australia. So it turned out today from a Freedom of Information request from the opposition that during the last couple of years, Tennis Australia has received about $100 million, $100 million in taxpayer, bailouts, right? $100 million in bailouts from the Victorian taxpayer for the Australian Open. And a lot of that comes on the back of the difficulties they had during COVID time because of the restrictions and extra precautions that Tennis Australia had to take during that time. I don't know if you guys remember, whether we want to have the Australian Open. Like, these are all discussions that we were having. But they received two installments. I think one was 60 million and one was 40 million. Now, of one of those payments, it's been confirmed, at least in the reporting that I've seen today, that they don't even have to pay that back. I believe that was about $60 million. It's totally unaccounted for. It probably will never be paid back to the Victorian taxpayer. Completely ridiculous situation. And it's just a part of this mess that the Daniel Andrews legacy in Victoria and continuing now under Jacinta Allen has left us in, because we lost all that money with the Commonwealth Games, and they're like, that's a win. So many projects have been cancelled and so much taxpayer money has been wasted on things that really don't benefit us at whatsoever. And in this particular instance, even though they make the case that the Tennis Australian Open benefits the state by bringing in tourists, bringing in business, and keeping that Tennis Australia Open in Victoria, at the end of the day, these organizations make so much money that they should at least pay that back to us, right? That's what I think. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Should Tennis Australia pay back the tens of millions of dollars that they've taken from the Victorian taxpayer? Now, sticking with Australian politics, we also have Penny Wong. She's in a bit of hot water because she's going to Israel as a diplomat, the foreign minister, to help with the Israel-Gaza conflict and offer some advice to the Israelis on how Australia would like to see things operate in that conflict. I'm not sure exactly what she's going to achieve from doing this, and especially based on the fact that Australia has been quite weak in terms of their response to a lot of this, and I don't want to get too much into that. But what's come up now is that Penny Wong, the foreign minister, won't be visiting the kibbutz in the south of Israel, the border towns where a lot of these massacres and acts of terrorism took place. Now, again, this comes off the back of the fact that many other world leaders that have visited Israel recently, including business leaders like Elon Musk, for instance. They've all visited the kibbutz, they've all visited the scenes of the massacres, and they've been given a tour and shown these things. Penny Wong, the Australian government in this instance, is not paying lip service, I guess, to the Israeli government, the regime. And there are people who are celebrating this fact, saying that, yes, she shouldn't go there. But in the same time, she is actually meeting them, meeting hostages, meeting survivors, meeting families of hostages. So she's doing all of that, but just not in the south where the massacres actually took place. So what's going on here? I think two things are going on here. One of them is Labour is playing a very, playing both sides of this, right? In terms of their constituents, their base. There is a lot of people within the Labour movement, I've seen this online, that are very much on the pro-Palestine bandwagon. They're very, well, they say they're anti-Zionist. I see a lot of anti-Israel sentiment within that. Take that as you will. We also have the fact that they are, in some instances, really, which has been shocking, they've been very pro-Hamas. They've recently been very pro-Houthi. So you have the Labour Party, you have their base, you have people within that same kind of left-wing politics, or the Greens, for instance, who are very much pro these things and anti-Israel. So Labour is trying to, I think, appease both sides. I'm not sure exactly what the issue would have been if Penny Wong went to the kibbutz and did those tours in the south and actually saw firsthand. If she's making policy that, or decisions in terms of Australia's involvement and actually not seeing this stuff firsthand, while people like Elon Musk, for instance, are going and seeing these things firsthand. I mean, should our foreign minister actually see firsthand if she does have that opportunity? I think so. Whether, you want to say that it's propaganda or it didn't happen and all these kind of things, again, our foreign minister, our intelligence, all these people involved in this who are making decisions of Australia's involvement needs to be able to make these decisions with a clear mind after seeing everything and assessing everything. So as much as possible, at least. So yeah, I think, at least Albanese should say something regarding this. Oh, the road is blocked. Well, here we go. Great. Welcome to Victoria, guys. So if you're driving around Victoria, I'm just going to show you this. Wurundjeri Way, it is blocked off, and it's interesting because on the way here, I don't think it was blocked. So I've got to find a different route to go. Now, the last story that I want to talk to you guys about is around the US election, Republican primaries, and of course, Donald Trump. Today is the Iowa caucuses, so we should find out today if Trump is on his path to becoming the Republican nominee. Of course, there's a few more primaries to go, but this will really give a good indication of where Trump is sitting, at least within the Republican base. Now, the reason I'm talking about Trump is there's an interesting story developing around the case involving Trump in Georgia. Now, in Georgia, we have the DA, I believe, the district attorney, Fani Willis. This lady has been after Trump like anything, and she has made a point of wanting to get Trump, and she's indicting, I think, 18 other people as a part of this indictment for racketeering for Trump. They're saying attempting to overturn the results of the Georgia election. Now, the thing with this is that we found out recently that Fani Willis herself might be in a bit of hot water herself, right? So she has been alleged to have had an affair with a prosecutor that was put onto the case against Trump, having an affair with this man. And this man is also the same person who has been meeting the Biden administration in the White House, getting advice, who knows about what, but at the same time, she's having an affair, allegedly, with Fani Willis. And so yeah, it just leads to this really interesting situation where it's come up as a issue where it's a conflict of interest. And what does that mean? Hundreds of thousands of dollars exchanged. He's meeting the Biden administration, and also, it's been hush till it's been revealed. So she's come out and said that it's because she's black, and that the guy that she allegedly had an affair with is black. That's why they're being targeted. The white prosecutors on the team or whatever are not being targeted. And she's gone so far as to say at one of these conferences, or where she was speaking, that, black women have need to be given the space to make mistakes, something to that effect. Completely ridiculous statements that she's making, and it looks like we're in a situation where she could potentially be removed from this case, if it goes into some sort of tribunal to figure out her conflict of interest. So very interesting things happening. As always with these cases against Trump, it's very frivolous. You're looking at very partisan style, opponents that he's facing in terms of their democratic backgrounds. The judges themselves are in that same vein as well. So it's good to see that we're getting this kind of drama, even though it is like a soap opera. It's still interesting to observe. Let me know if you've heard anything about Fani Willis and her affair, alleged affair. All right, guys. Somehow I managed to do my vlog here in the car. Hopefully my dash cam picked it up. As always, if you like my news content, please hit the subscribe button. Sounds like I'm begging. I'm not begging. If you like it, hit subscribe. If you hit the notification bell if you're on YouTube, I think it'll let you know when I upload a video. On other platforms, you can find me on X, on Rumble, on Odyssey, Facebook, at The Real Rukshan. Thanks, guys. See you next time.